Perla is the next beer of my choice that has made it into my favourite beers of the strong variety, which, believe you me, there's a lot of beers out there that's strong that I absolutely adore, but this has to be one of them. Perla Mochna, so this is the stronger Perla, 7.6%, and well, I'm going to go into why I like it in just a second, but to me this beer is typical Polish. It's typical Polish in the sense that what you have is a strong beer. Typically the style that they do, again, just screams Polish. Love it. It's like an old Polish tradition. But for me, the reason why I enjoy this beer and I like this, excuse me, I shouldn't have ate before I drank this, but there you go. The reason why I like this beer is because the colour, to me, doesn't look strong. That just looks like a standard everyday lager, but you'd be completely mistaken when you try it. You know, it's smooth, it's got flavour, and the strong alcohol. As you know, most strong beers do tend to be quite dark in colour, but this isn't. Man, that's one of the reasons why I love this beer, because it's smooth, it slips down just as good as Devowie, and given the two, this tastes a hell of a lot more cleaner. This is clean, it's got that sort of bitter, crisp taste to it, and I find myself drawn to this because it's smooth, the carbonation is good, the body's good, and I just fell in love with it because it is an all-round beer. And at 7.6%, you know, it takes no prisoners. It takes a twist on the modern classic. You expect a strong alcoholic beer like this to be strong, powerful, but actually it's the complete opposite. It's smooth, it's tame. It's worrying because, again, you can drink this quite quickly, not forgetting that it is, of course, 7.6%, as you can see on the front of the can there. But to me, it just works well. The whole setup of it, the whole colour, looks like a normal lager. You know, if I didn't have this here and I said to you, guess what this was, you'd probably just pick the run-of-the-mill lager. But this isn't. And you just look at it and you think, normal lager, you taste it, you think, oh, okay, a little bit special. And then all of a sudden, boom, that smoothness, that flavour. There's no strong alcohol here, it's all tamed and it's all easy to drink. It just makes life so much easier when you drink a Perla. And to me, the flavours are balanced well, they're not overpowering, they're just right. And that's why I loved it. Still love it to this day. But let's face it, with a name like Perla, it actually means pearl, as in pearls, like diamonds, pearls as in pearl necklace. And it may have a feminine name. Pearl to me sounds like a woman. This is a woman's beer, but it's not. The name is woman. There's nothing womanish about this. It is, of course, an all-man's drink. This gives you that power, the alcohol. It gives you that flavour. But I will say it's very, very gentle, just like a woman. And that's probably why they named it Perla, because women are caring, gentle, very, very beautiful. And to me, this does represent all of those things. The look of the beer is beautiful, it looks good. The taste is gentle, just like a woman's touch. But it's all manly in the sense that it's 7.6. Drink too much of these and you get it wasted. So nice cliche there for the Polish. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And even the pour. There's something of beauty. So why do I love Perla? Simple, beautiful, perfection. Hello fans, and another beer that I'm here with is another beer that I like on the series of videos. This one I still don't really know if this is the new Oranjeboom or if this is the old one that's been redefined, but either way I like both of them, hence why I'm doing the video today. The only thing I will say about this, what I'm going to call it is the new Oranjeboom, is the fact that it's lost the biscuity taste and it's a hell of a lot more smoother. To be fair, I did like the biscuity taste from the old one, the malty, grainy biscuit kind of thing. But yeah, now they've redefined this one, and I think it's a bit more smoother, and it's a hell of a lot more sweeter. And because I've got a sweet tooth, I really do gravitate towards sweeter beers. And being a stronger beer as well at 7%, it's decent. And as well, you know, it just, they've gone the extra mile on this can to tell you the temperatures and stuff and the percentage. But what I really like about it, and why I've been drinking it for on and off for a number of years actually, is because of the old style Oranjeboom that I once loved, and that was the biscuity taste that I grew to love. Not only that, but it had great carbonation as well, and it always held a good body through and throughout, whether it was, you know, even left for a few days, maybe a few weeks, it always would come out just as good as it looks today. With the colour, I've said that as well. You know, I think the colour's good on the beer itself. Always maintained a good head too. But I really fell in love with the fact that it's just a combination of different flavours. And this new Oranjeboom, what I really like about it is the fact that it's so smooth, it slips down a treat. 7%, it's dangerous. And although it's a little bit more hoppier and a bit more bitter in places, as well as a overall much more sweet taste on it compared to the old Oranjeboom. Given the choice, you know, what one do I prefer, the old or the new? Well, I would have to just stick to tradition and say, well, of course the old one. Nothing wrong with this new one. I'm sure my taste buds will adjust to it eventually. But I really did like the Oranjeboom in the sense that it was strong, good flavour, and the body itself was just something special. You know, it could just slide down a treat. Don't really know much about Oranjeboom. All I do know is that it's from Poland, and it's probably in there with some of my favourite Polish beers. To be fair, there's a lot of them, but this just about makes it. It's a beer in itself in my eyes. It does well, and I've drunk it a few times. Although I've never really tested my boundaries on this, I've never really sat down and thought how many of these could I specifically drink in one sitting, just like I have with Duvel and Chimay. Maybe in the future, you know, I'll come around to the idea, but not quite yet. It's cheap and it's affordable, and I think it's probably one of Poland's most well-known beers. Hopefully it is anyway. And I hope that the good people of Poland can appreciate this as much as I do drinking it. So yeah, that's why I like Oranjeboom, fans. Good all round, decent beer that's smooth, straight to the point. Okay, another beer that I love is of course Delirium Noel. It to me is a beer that you have to try. It's from Belgium, and what I really love about this is the colour. Look at that. Proper gut red ruby. Also, what I love about this is the fact that it is a Belgian family that brew this particular beer, and I just love the complexity of the beer, the flavours that it brings. It's powerful, it's robust, it's full-bodied, and I tell you what, I love it. It leaves me wanting more and more and more. And my little tradition now, of course, is every Christmas I have to have some of this, and I have at the moment stocked up, so I have 6 bottles. And what I also love is each bottle is different. So you've got an elephant on this one skiing. Some of them, the elephant's on a sleigh, he's, you know, standing up skiing. all sorts of weird stuff like that. So it's really cool that they changed the labels on these, which I've never seen any other beer do. Of course, it is a strong beer and it comes in at 10%. If you can quite see that in the corner there. Just says there that it's 10%. I don't know if we can see that. Might be able to. But it's not the strength that draws me. In actual fact, it's the flavour. That's why I love it. It's just strong, robust. Yeah, sorry about that. I think I had a hair. You get the alcohol hit, but the flavours, it's that warmth, and it reminds me of Christmas. The warmth you get at Christmas, sitting around a fire or the heating. You got your family surrounding you, opening your presents on Christmas Day. It's just, what more could you ask for? Most people have mulled wine or you know, things like this, maybe even gin or whiskey, but for me, my tradition is Delirium Noel. I just love it, and I always have. When I first tried it, it was just one of those beers that I fell straight in love with, and I've been drinking this ever since. I think 2010 again was the first time I tried this. 7 years later, you know, or thereabouts, nearly 8 years now, I think. I've always kept drinking it, and that's why I love it. It goes well with a lot of different foods. It complements a lot of foods, and is one of those universal beers in the food world that a strong beer like this can be palatable by so many different foods. If I burp, it's not a good beer. But it is just a one-time thing. It's a one-time thing that you have to have on Christmas. The beer itself is generally only released around Christmas, and the Belgians have done well to produce such a decent, robust beer. Everything about it, even the head, is small, minimal, but it works well. The head's almost like a sweet biscuit, and the beer itself is like a strong alcohol, but like fruity, herby, spicy. It's just everything. It's like Left but pumped up, but not as herby. And you know, with that said in mind, I do love Left too, so probably why I like this. But I also like stronger beers like Chimay Blue as well. So again, these are all in my categories that I tend to gravitate towards. For me, Christmas wouldn't be the same without one of these, and I, again, this year will be drinking plenty of these by all accounts. Once I've had my Christmas dinner and I stuff myself, eat as much turkey, chocolate, everything that I want, I'm going to be sinking one of these, maybe two of these. So yeah, that's my Christmas day sorted. So if you've got a Christmas beer, I suggest you get one of these, because I tell you why, it warms you from inside out, tastes good, looks good, and you will be seeing pink elephants if you drink too much of them. So that's why I love Delirium Noel. Right, I nearly never had this to make it to my top beers that I like of the strong variety. To me, I know I've pronounced this wrong because someone commented on my channel and said that they lived in Holland for many years, and the pronunciation of this, how I pronounce it, makes them cringe. I called it Oranjeboom. Supposedly, I'm guessing it's Oranjeboom, I think. But either way, this is the strong version at 8.5%, as you can see. Even says it on the back there, if you can just make it out. Just under there somewhere, 8.5%. And I knew you didn't include it because I thought, well, this is typically commercialised, it's everywhere. And now I remembered the good times that I had. Good times I had on this particular beer. Now, to me, of course, as you can see, the head is massive. Typical strong beer colour as well. And I can't even really remember the first time I had this. I think it was a few years back, I think, going back about 2010, I think. I first had it, I tried it. Wasn't overly keen on it at first. It was one of those beers that tend to grow on you, and I just got this overwhelming sweet taste from it, which is incredibly sweet. But again, you know, after drinking a few of these, it's kind of caramelistic. You get that sort of hint of caramel, and with the caramel, it does get a bit sickly after a while. And it's quite a heavy beer as well. If you're planning to get wasted on this, then believe you me, it is quite a heavy beer to be doing that on, as I experienced a few times. I've probably got wasted on this at least twice, I think. It's horrible. It's a no-no. It's one of those beers that shouldn't be drunk in that sense. You should take your time with this. You should appreciate it for all its flavour, its characteristic. But I just went ahead and drank quite a few of these. I can't even remember how many I drank, but I ended up getting extremely wasted. And because of that, I had a fucking massive hangover the next day. Felt like shit. My mouth I had cotton mouth. I had what we call death breath. Anyone knows what death breath is? It's when you first wake up in the morning, you've not had a drink, like alcoholic or just general, but you wake up in the morning and when you smell someone's breath when they've just woke up, it smells like shit. It smells like they've just picked up a load of dog shit off the floor, munch, 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 and then they breathe all over you. Of course, they're not actually eating dog shit, I'm just giving you the idea of what it actually smells like. So I had death breath on this. So, yeah, it just didn't go down too well. But as a beer in itself, you know, I can really appreciate the flavours in this beer. And I can also appreciate the strength too, because the strength of this beer isn't overly strong until it hits you. It starts off nice and smooth and you get into it clean and good and makes you, yeah, love it. And then you drink a few of them. Then it starts to creep up, and then that's when you can really get the flavour of this beer. It gets a little bit sickly, and that's why I never really wanted to originally include this in these videos. But I had to, because I just thought, I've had some good times on it. I love it. I've had some fantastic times on it. It's a beer that I've got out, I've been pissed. There have been times where I've drunk this beer and just chilled out. You know, I've had one, as I am now. And I'd be remotely chilled. I'd just be feeling quite sluggish. You know, I wouldn't get drunk on it, but it does chill you out. It makes you just, you know, want to laze around a little bit. And that's why I really do appreciate it, because if a beer can do that to me, then I will have utmost respect for it, because, you know, I have my categories. I have chill out beers, I have strong beers, and I have weak beers. And I also have my beers of flavour. A very rare category, that beer of flavour. But actually, when I looked at it, you know, this is in my strong beer category, but it also can double up into my chill out category. So that's why I loved it. I just thought it can do both. It's a universal beer with good flavour, good nice strong alcohol here with a nice warmth to it, decent head. You know, the Dutch have got it right. They've got the perfect balance for a commercially strong beer. However, I do not like the caramelised taste so much. I think it's okay if you're having one, but if you plan to stick on this all night, you're best off sticking to the original version of this, the 5% version. It's a lot more flavour. You know, you don't get the caramel taste as well. So, but yeah, that's probably why I love it. It's just one of those beers, isn't it? That's all I can say. I know this review on this has probably been a little bit boring for this particular one, but I can't really say anything else. I generally can't. It's just one of those beers. One of those beers that I'll probably love to enjoy forevermore. But there you go. That's why I love Oranjeboom, or Oranjeboom 8.5. Nothing orange about it. So, next one in instalment for my favourite strong beers is of course Adnams Broadside. There it is. Reason why I love this so much is because it's just it's the flavour, and yes, it is. It's technically an ale, I think, but they class it as a beer. They class it as a dark ruby red beer. But for me, what I really love is that flavour. It's dark, it's handsome, and yeah, I just love it. Just love it. To me, it's the flavour that brought me back to this. And again, if it wasn't for a friend, I would have never have tried this at all. Because I don't do ales, although technically they class it as a beer, but I class it as an ale. Lots of flavours hitting the palate. But I love it because of that fruitcake flavour you get. That whole warmth in the mouth. I also like the fact that you get a nice warmth. You get that raisiny, that sort of fruity taste, that sweet taste. And I've never looked back on it. Even the repeat's good, man. But I always come back to this because of the flavours, the fruitcake, the strength of the beer. And to me, if this was lower, I would still drink it. It's just the fruitcake flavour that brings me back. That sweet, that warmth. You know, then you've got that sort of chocolatiness there. It's just a whole world of flavour. And for a strong beer, this is what, 6.3? Yes, it is 6.3. I don't know if you can see that there, 6.3. It is a decent strength as well, and being an English ale slash beer, it's the only ale that will feature in any of these videos. I mean, you could class Duvel as an ale, but I don't. That's more of a beer than an ale. But this is something else. This is marketed as a beer, but I believe is an ale, personally. The head diminishes, you know, it doesn't have that typical ale taste, but it looks like an ale. But the flavour is a cross between a beer and an ale, and it just works the palate over time. So I had to feature this because, going back to what I said before, is when a friend first introduced me to this, he visited this place called South Wold, where this is actually brewed in England, and beautiful place, by the way. And he went out there and he was bringing all these beers back for me. You got to try this, Ruku. You know, they're all ales. He was an ale drinker and he still is, but he was like, try this, try this, try this. And then in the end, he was like, try one of these. So he physically gave me a bottle of Broadside, and I never looked back. I fell in love with it instantly. So I then, yeah, I could get on board with this. You know, this is really good stuff. So then what happened was, I was going down to the local pub or bar, and they had it on tap. I couldn't believe it. That's what struck me the most, is they had it on tap. Can't remember how much I paid for it on tap. Very, very cheap on tap, I remember that much. And when it was poured, it just looks so much better. The colour's there, but the head is thick, white, creamy. It's like that big, and you really get immersed into it. So there you go. I used to pay stupid money, which was probably only a couple of quid, if that, for a strong beer. Now, when in this particular bar that I went to, they also had things like Peroni, San Miguel, but that you'd be paying top money for. I was paying about £3.60, I think, for £3.60 for a San Miguel, which, believe you me, for a pint is a lot of money. Then they introduced Peroni. That took the piss. They wanted about £4 odd for that, £4.25, something stupid. And I'm not going to pay that. If you want to pay that, then you go to London, central London, and you pay sort of a £5 for a pint. You know, I refuse to pay that sort of money. But yeah, this was dirt cheap, and I was chuffed. So that would always be my drink of choice if I wanted to get really rat-assed. You know, I'd drink things like San Miguel. I would drink, I can't remember what else they had on tap now. But they had San Miguel on there, then I would go back to this, then I'd go back to San Miguel, then back to this, then recently they did Coors Lights, and then I'd switch to a Coors Light, and so on. So this would always be my speed upper. This would always speed me up on if I wanted to get pissed. But the flavour is what drew me back, and it just says here that it's a dark ruby red beer full of fruit cake flavours and is great savoury with some strong cheese. Doesn't tell you what it contains other than barley. It's 6.3%, and this is from a place called South Wild, as I mentioned, which is in a county called Suffolk. So you've got most people now are aware of Essex, where I basically come from. People are aware of London as well, but South Wild isn't that far from where I'm based. Here in Essex, you're talking probably about an hour away, maybe 2 at tops. Beautiful countryside. It's our country, as it were. Seaside resort, and they produce this, so I'm fantastically over the moon with this stuff. Couldn't fault it. Just the flavour just keeps getting me back and back and back. So if I ever want something really sweet, really sort of rich, complex, this is the beer for me. And that's why I had to feature it in this video, purely because, you know, the taste I'm addicted to, and the strength is there as well. They know how I like my beer, sweet and strong. Good job, guys. Yeah, thanks for watching. I can't seem to turn this off. Why won't you turn off? You will turn off. Turn off, you bastard.